Hi kids, welcome to Aarchi series by Heavens Publishing House. This children is English series for class 8. This is your coursework English Skylights, and today we are going to begin with chapter number 2 of your book, that is My Elder. Right? Ready? Let's begin. Now, do you often go for vacations in the holidays? Right? So, what is your idea of a holiday or a vacation? So, there were times when your parents used to spend holidays. So, how they used to spend their holidays and vacations and how you spend them in these times. So, this is a small exercise that you have to complete by drawing a comparison, right? You have to draw a comparison how people used to spend holidays in that time and now as compared how we spend it these days, right? So you will fill this exercise according to you, right? You will go and ask your parents maybe and ask them how they used to spend a single holiday or where they used to go for a vacation, how they used to spend their days, and now you will jot down how you like to spend the day, right? So do this one. Now, about this lesson, children, this is one story about two brothers, right? And it tells about the relationship, the dynamics both of them share. It tells us about the dynamics between a younger and his elder brother. It says, no matter how equal we become with our elders, they will always and always have more experience than us, right? So, let's get started with the chapter. My big brother was 5 years older than me, but only 3 grades ahead. So, age-wise, he was 5 years older, 5 years elder to him, to the narrator, but in the school, grade-wise, he was only 3 years ahead. Right? He had begun his studies at the same age as I had, but he didn't like the idea of moving hastily in an important matter like education. He took 2 years to do 1 year's work. Sometimes he even took 3. So, what is the narrator trying to say here? He is using a pun. He is trying to be humorous. He's saying that my brother didn't believe in taking this important matter like education seriously. He takes 2 or maybe 3 years to complete 1 year work, right? He says he took 2 years to do 1 year's work, or sometimes he even took 3. That means he took at least 2 to 3 years to pass one class, right? To move to another grade. That means his brother was not doing very well in his studies, right? This is just a humorous way to present it. Now, 9 and he was 14. The narrator is saying I was 9 years of age and my brother being 5 years elder, he was 14. He had full right by seniority to supervise me. He says that my elder brother used to supervise me all the time. And I was expected to accept every order of his. He was very studious by nature. He's saying that though my brother might not be doing very well in the exams, in the final exams, but he was very studious by nature. He was always sitting with books. He was always sitting with book open. And perhaps to rest his brain, he would sometimes draw pictures of birds, dogs, and cats in the margins of his notebook. He said, perhaps maybe he was studying too much. Just to rest for a small period of time, he would draw pictures of birds, dogs, and other animals in the margins of the book. See, this is how he used to waste his time. He was not always studying when the book was open. His mind was distracted most of the time, right? Sometimes he would write a name, a word, or sentence 10 or 20 times. He would copy a stanza several times in beautiful letters or create new words that made no sense. So all this indicates that although his brother was studying for a longer period of time, he always used to sit with books open, but his mind was rarely there, right? It was always distracted. He was always drawing something or the other or just mindlessly writing or copying things. Okay? I didn't really like studying. Now he talks about himself that even I don't like studying too much. To pick a book and sit with it for an hour was too much. He could not even sit for 1 hour at a length and study. Right? As soon as I got a chance, I would leave the hostel and go to the playground and play marbles, fly kites, or just meet a friend. What would be more fun? So instead of studying, right, for like an hour, what he used to like more was to go and play with his friends. He would love to leave the hostel and go to the playground. He would love to play marbles with his friends or flying kites or just sitting with their friends and chit-chatting. Right. But as soon as I came back into the room, into the hostel room where he used to live with his elder brother, and his brother would see him and saw my brother's scowling face, I would be terrified. He says that as soon, the moment I see my brother's scowling means angry face, how would he feel? He would be terrified. He would be so afraid and scared of his brother's anger, right? His first question would be, what was the first question his brother always asked? Yeah, where were you? Angrily, always. Always the same question which he asked in the same tone, in the same angry tone, and I could only answer with silence. And in the answer, no word ever came out of the mouth of the narrator. He always used to be silent. I don't know why I couldn't say that I had just been playing outside. He says, I don't know why I could never gather this much courage, right? He could not muster enough courage to say that he was just been playing outside, but he had always been silent in reply, right? He was so afraid of his brother that my silence was an acknowledgement of guilt. Acknowledgement, that means acceptance of guilt. He used to find himself guilty, right? He felt guilty. And my brother would always say angrily, study English this way. You will be studying your whole life and you won't get one word right. He used to say that if this is the way how you are going to study English, you will be studying your whole life. It is going to take your entire life and you won't get one word right even then. Right? Studying English is no laughing matter. He says that it is not so easy to study English. English is not a very easy subject. You have to wear out your eyes morning and night and use every ounce of energy. Even then, you just have a smattering of it. What he means by this? He says that you will have to work so hard. Your eyes have to work so hard day and night. And even after putting in so much effort, using every ounce of energy, every last bit of energy that you have, after all that, you will just have a smattering of it. Smattering means it means that you will even then just know even a small amount of it, right? It is not that even after studying that much you will gain a lot of knowledge in English. You will just gain small amount of knowledge even after putting such a large amount of hard work, right? Now he said, can't you learn from looking at me? You have seen me with your own eyes, how hard I work. No matter how many shows and fairs there are, have you ever seen me attend them? Now he says, why don't you look at me for an example? I study so hard. And Have you seen that I have gone even to any of the shows or any of the fairs that keep on happening? I skip all these activities because class ninth grade that his elder brother was in was a very difficult grade, right? So have you ever seen me attend them? Every day there are cricket and hockey matches, but I don't go near them, he says. I skip all these cricket and hockey matches, right? We love playing cricket and hockey. Even then he used to move me for his study. This of studying all the time, it takes me 2 years or even three to get through one grade. He's saying that even after studying so much, despite of putting so much effort, despite of studying all the time, it takes almost 2 to 3 years for him to pass one grade. So how do you expect to pass when you waste your time like this? Why waste our father's hard-earned money? He's saying, when I study so much and don't pass, how do you expect to pass your grades, right? Sorry, he says, how do you expect to pass with such a small amount of effort, such small time you devote for study? And why are you wasting your father's hard-earned money? His father used to work very hard to pay for the fee of their students, right? So he's saying, don't waste your father's money. After such a dressing down, after such a scolding, I would start crying. Now the narrator, he starts crying. My brother was an expert in the art of giving advice. He would say such cruel words, overwhelm me with such good advice that my spirits would sink, my courage would disappear, and I would think, why don't I run away from school and go back? Why should I spoil my life fiddling with work that's beyond my capacity? Huh? After all this scolding his brother does, the narrator starts crying. He's saying that my brother is very good at giving advice, and such cruel words, he says, they fill the narrator. They fill him with discouragement, right? These words would make his courage disappear, his spirits would sink, and he would think of running back to home from the school. And also he used to think, why should I waste my time trying to do something that I don't have the capacity of, right? Do something that's beyond my capacity, right? But after an hour or two, right after crying for an hour or two, I would get over my despair, my sadness, and resolve and would promise to study with all my might. I would draw up a schedule on the spot. What he would do, quickly draw a schedule that he would follow from the next day. From morning, getting up in the morning to night. He would draw up a schedule. In the timetable, the time for play was entirely absent. That means he would not devote any time for playing in the timetable. Get up at the crack of dawn. What his timetable used to be like? He would get up at the crack of dawn, wash my hands and face at 6, eat a snack, sit down and study from 6 to 8. English he would study 8 to 9, arithmetic 9 to 9:30, history, then meal time, and afterward off to school. Right? Half hour's rest at 3:30. When I got back from school, he's saying when I get back from school, I'll take half an hour of rest. And then again he'll start studying geography from 4 to 5, grammar from 5 to 6, many half hours walk in front of the hostel. See, in the entire day schedule, he has not devoted any time for play. He has just devoted some time for rest or for walking in front of the hostel. 6:30 to 7, he would study English composition, then he would take his dinner, translation from 8 to 9, Hindi from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11, miscellaneous life, he would do different things, and then to bed. So this was the schedule from morning to the very end of the day, that was to the night. Right? But it's one thing to draw up a schedule and another to follow it. That means it is very easy to draw a timetable, to set up a timetable for yourself, but it is very difficult to follow it, right? It is another thing to follow the schedule. It began to be neglected from the very first day. From the very first day, the schedule would not be followed. The inviting green expanse of the playground. He would see that, wow, what the big area of the playground looks like. That would be inviting him, right? That would be very inviting for him, very distracting. The balmy winds. He would miss the balmy, soothing winds that would blow outside, the commotion on the football field, all this hustle bustle that used to be on the football field, the exciting stratagems of business ways, all these plannings and plottings that used to happen in the playground, the speed and flurries of volleyball, the speed and all these great activities that were happening in the field of volleyball would all draw me mysteriously and irresistibly. He says that all these activities will draw all his attention towards themselves, and he would be tempted. He would be so distracted to be there, to be out there and do all these activities, to play, to engage with his friends, right? But the only thing that did not come to his mind was following the schedule. Soon I was there. As soon as he was out in the playground, I forgot everything about the schedule, the life-destroying schedule now. The schedule has become life-destroying. The books that strain your eyes, those books which used to strain your eyes while studying, I I couldn't remember them at all. He just forgot about all of that as soon as he was on the playground. And then my brother would stare at me again. He would look to his younger brother. I would stay well out of his way, try to keep out of his sight, come into the room on tiptoe. He would very quietly enter into the room, avoiding his elder brother. So he would know. He didn't want to contact him. He knew that he was going to get a scolding, right? But if he spotted me, it would be my death. He says that if I was caught by my brother, if I came in his way, it would be my death. That means he was scolded badly, right? The yearly exam came round. My brother failed. I passed and was first in my class. Now what happened? The yearly exams came, and when the results came, what happened? His brother, who used to study a lot, he failed, while the narrator, who used to play all the time and hardly studied, he passed and he was first in the class. There was only a 2-year difference left between him and me. And now the difference in the grades of both the brothers was only of 2 years, since his brother had failed in this grade. Now I could be a little proud of myself, and my ego was inflated. He started thinking very highly of himself. He thought he was very proud of himself, and he got very egoistic, right? My brother's sway over me was over. His hold over him was over. As I began to take part freely in the game, my spirits were running high. He said, I started devoting even more time to playing, and my spirits were running high. That yes, I have came first in the class. I've come first in the class, and he was very proud. He became proud and haughty. One day, when I had spent the whole morning playing gilli danda. Do you know what is gilli danda, children? Yes, it is a game that is used to play. You play with a stick, right? It is a wooden stick that you play with, and then there is an oval shaped wooden piece that you hit upon, right, with the stick. So one day, the narrator had spent the whole morning playing gilli danda and came back exactly at meal time. He said, with all the air, exactly at meal time, he said, with all the air of pulling out the sword to rush at me, I see how you have passed this year and you're first in your class and you think you've conquered the world. Now, one day what happened, he was saying, the narrator was saying Gilly Danda since morning and he had returned back at the time of the meal. And his brother saw him. He came and he started scolding him. He said that I see that you have passed this year and you are first in your class and you think you have conquered the world. You think you have done so much in your life. But even great men live to regret their pride. This is such a very good line. Brother is saying that pride is very harmful. Even great men could not survive because of their pride, because of their ego, right? And who are you compared to them? You are such a small boy. When such great men could not live to regret their pride, right? Who are you compared to them? You must have read about Ravan. Now he said that you must have read about Ravan. He was master of the earth. All the kings of the earth paid taxes to him. The gods were his servants. But what happened to him in the end? Pride completely finished him. Now his brother is given an example of Ravan, right? You all know who Ravan was. He was very, very intelligent man. He was a very learned man. But what killed him? His pride. Yes, so that is what his brother is trying to explain, that he must not give way to pride in his life, right? So pride completely finished Ravan, destroying even his name. Right? You've just been promoted one grade and your head turned by it. You have become so proud and so arrogant just by passing one grade. Don't let pride destroy you. Right? This brother was advising the narrator. Just passing an exam is not enough. The real thing is to develop your mind. He is further explaining that just passing one grade or one exam is not the goal of your life. You must develop your mind. Wait till you reach my class. He's saying wait till you reach the ninth grade. Algebra and geometry will drive you mad and God help you with British history. He's saying that algebra and geometry, they are going to drive you crazy. They are so difficult. And also he says that British history is so difficult. God help you with that. He's saying those poor fellows who, the British, he's calling British poor fellows and saying that they didn't have means enough to go around. Why did he say that? Because there are scores of Charles. See, you see King Charles I, King Charles II, III, they keep on putting numbers after that, right? So he's saying that there are not enough names to go around. After every name, they have to put second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay. So he said, anybody had asked me, I could have reeled off thousands of names. They could have asked me, he's saying, the Britishers could have asked me and I could have reeled off names. I could have recited so many new names for them instead of them putting Charles I, Charles II. There are so many Charles to remember, right? That makes the British history very, very difficult to learn. And as for geometry, if you write ACB instead of ABC, your whole answer is marked wrong thing. And geometry so difficult that if you just write one or the other alphabet here and there, your entire answer is marked wrong. Right? Understood? Good. They will say, now he's giving another example to his younger brother. He's saying, they will say, write an essay on punctuality no less than 4 pages. 4 pages long. Who doesn't know that punctuality, a very good thing, a man's life is organized according to it, others love him for it, and his business prospers from it. So he's saying that we all know what punctuality is and what are its advantages. He's saying that one prospers from it and all these things that we will know. But he's saying that do I need 4 pages to describe what I can describe in one sentence? He's saying that how it is the need actually to write 4 pages on a topic which I can explain in 1 or 2 simple sentences, right? Do I need 4 pages to describe what I can describe in one sentence? Not economizing time. Economizing means it is not the right way to utilize your time. It is sheer wasting of your time. It's wasting it, right? We want a man to say what he has to say quickly and then to move on. That we should be able to say what we want quickly and then should be able to move on. Why should we keep on writing and explaining things which we can explain in 1 or 2 simple sentences? So this was his idea, right? Now, so he says, when you get into my class, you will find out what's what. Just because you got a first division this time, you're all puffed up, you're all filled with pride. I failed, but I'm still older than you and I have more experience of the world. He's saying that even though I have failed in the class and you have stood first in yours, doesn't mean that I have lost the right to scold you, right? I still have and I always will have more experience than you, more experience of life than you have. Take my advice or you will be sorry. He's saying that take my advice or later on in your life you will feel sorry when you will not have much time on your hands to make things right. So start studying, start utilizing more of your time instead of wasting it in playing or goofing around. Right? So it was almost time for school. While his brother was scolding him, it was almost time for school, or I don't know when the sermons would have ended. He says, thank God, he was thankful that it was time for school. Otherwise, he doesn't know for how long his brother would have continued to reprimand or lecture him, right? I didn't have much appetite that day. He could not take more scolding that day. If I got a scolding like this when I passed, he's saying that this time I have passed and this is the kind of scolding I am getting. Maybe if I had failed, I would have had to pay with my life. He's saying that this is what I get when I have stood first in the class and God knows what would have happened if I would have failed. He says that I would have had to pay with my life, right? My brother's terrible restriction of studying in ninth grade really scared me. I'm surprised I didn't run away from school and go home. The way his brother described his ninth grade, he was so scared that he started thinking of going back to home. He was feeling surprised why I didn't run back home. Still, I didn't miss a chance to play. Even after all these explainings, advices, and all these scoldings he got, he did not miss any chance to play. I did study, but much. He was studying, but even less than he used to study previously. Well, just enough to complete the day's work and not be disgraced in class. He's saying that I used to study only as much was required, just so that he did not get scolded in the class. But the confidence I had gained in myself disappeared, and I began to live like a thief. So he's saying that, but after the scolding, what happened? The confidence I had gained in myself after scoring well in the exams, it had vanished, and now he started living like a thief, right? Then it was time for the yearly exams again. Now the exams were round the corner again. Once more I passed and my brother failed again. This time what happened? His brother failed in his grade once more. And again I had one more time I passed. He passed but his brother failed again. I hadn't done much work, but somehow or the other I was in the first division. He says that even this time I had not put in much hard work into my studies, but still he got first division in the class. I was astonished too. He was surprised too that in spite of not studying very hard, how was he getting such good grades in the class. My brother had just about killed himself with work. He was working so hard. He was studying so laboriously. He was memorizing every word in the course. His brother used to memorize and cram every word in the course, studying till 10 at night and starting again at 4 in the morning. He would again wake up early in the morning from 6 until 9:30 before going to school also. He used to study. So his brother, despite of studying so much, he could not pass the class. He failed twice, right? When he heard the results, when the results had come out, he broke down and cried. His brother started to cry. So did I. Even the narrator did not like what happened to his brother and he joined him in his sadness. He was also sad and the both of the brothers cried. My pleasure in passing was cut by half. He's saying that the happiness I felt of getting the first division in my class was cut half by my brother being famous. There was only one grade left between my brother and me. He's saying that now there was a difference of only one grade between me and my brother. The evil thought crossed my mind that if he failed just once more, I would be at the same level as him. He's saying that a very bad, very evil thought crossed his mind that if my brother is going to fail one more time, then he and I are going to be at the same level and then he will not be able to scold me. Right? Then what grounds would he have for lecturing me? Then he would have no right to scold or lecture me or advise me, right? But I violently rejected the thought, but he pushed away the thought violently. After all, he has scolded me only with the intention of helping me. It's a good thing that the narrator had this realization that his brother used to scold him for his betterment only, for his good only to help him out. Maybe it was because of his wife that I passed so easily and with such good marks. Maybe he is saying that it was only because of the fear of my brother that I used to study this much that I got good grades, good marks in the class. But now a change came over my brother when his brother failed for a second time for a consecutive year, his brother changed in some way. He became much gentler, right? He stopped scolding his younger brother. Perhaps he felt that he no longer had the right to tell me off, or at least not as much as before. Now, maybe he's saying that his brother was thinking that now that he had also not done well in his exams, he had no right to scold or give advice to his younger brother, who otherwise was doing very good in his class. My independence grew. So he grew even more careless and he grew even more independent. I began to take unfair advantage of his tolerance, of his silence, right? I half started to imagine that I'd pass the next time whether I studied or not. He started thinking that it's not important to study. Anyways, I am going to get good marks. I'm going to get good grades in the school, even if I study or I don't. The little I used to study because of my brother sees too. He's saying that the little time I used to devote to my studies was only because of my brother's fear. I was so scared of him. But now even that ceased. That means even that stopped. He stopped studying even for that amount of time. I found a new pleasure in flying kites and I spent all my time at the school. He's saying that he developed his new liking towards the kite and he used to spend all his time flying kites. In preparation for a kite tournament, there was a tournament that was going to happen. I busied myself in solving problems like how to apply the paste mixed with ground glass on it to cut the other fellow sides of their strings. Now his mind all the time was occupied with how to uh, cut off the kite of the other opponent, what to do with the ground glass and how to use this and that. Only everything related to the kite tournament kept him occupied. One day, far from the hostel, I was running along madly to grab hold of a kite. Saying that one day what I did was I was running madly after a kite that had been cut. A whole army of boys came racing out to welcome it with long, thick bamboo rods. There were so many boys who were running after the kite with large bamboo rods in their hands. Nobody cared who was in front or behind them. He's saying nobody cared who was in front. They were just running madly after the kite. Right? Suddenly, I collided with my brother. Collided means he bumped into. He bumped into his brother who was probably coming back from the market. Now what happened? The narrator says he grabbed my hand and said angrily, "Aren't you ashamed of running with these ragamuffins after a one paisa kite?" He scolded him very badly. That what are these ragamuffins? Ragamuffins are the small children who are very dirtily clothed, right? Who are wearing all these very dirty clothes. He's saying, don't you feel ashamed of running with these ragamuffins for a one paisa kite? Don't you feel ashamed of yourself? Have you forgotten that you are not in a junior class anymore? You are not a small child anymore. You are in who's now one class behind me. You are just one class behind me, and next year you will be in ninth grade. You are no more a small child. You are smart, there is no doubt about that, but what use is it if it destroys your self-respect? Saying that I agree that you are very smart, you are very intelligent, that in spite of not devoting too much time to your studies, you are still getting good marks. But he's saying, what use are those marks if it destroys your self-respect, right? You must have thought, I'm just a grade behind my brother, so now he doesn't have the right to say anything to me. But you are mistaken. He says that don't think that since I am only a grade ahead of you, that does not mean that I don't have any right to scold you or advise you. Right? If I'm 5 years older than you, and even if you come in my grade, you can never equal the experience I have in life. He's saying that even if you come to my grade, even if I fail once more and we come in the same level in the school, but you can never equal the experience I have in life, right? You can never equal the experience I have in life and the world. Even if you get an MA and a DLit or even a PhD, even after getting all these degrees, the wisdom and the experience of life that I have, you will be far from it, right? Understanding doesn't come from reading books. He's saying that intelligence, wisdom, and understanding, all these things don't come to you just by reading or getting good grades in your class. Mother never passed any grade, and father probably never went beyond the 50 thing. Her mother and father, who have not very good education, even if we had the wisdom of the whole world, mother and father would always have the right to correct us. He's saying that even if we become more learned than them, even then the wisdom they have, the experience of life they have is far more than ours, and they will always have a right to correct us. Maybe they don't know what kind of government they have in America. Maybe they don't know what kind of a government is America, or how many constellations or arrangement of stars are there in the sky. But there are thousand things they know better than you and me. But there are still so many things they are more wise than us, right? They know better than you and me. God forbid. But if I should fall sick today, then you would be at your wit's end, at your wit's end, children. It means that you will be so puzzled, so confused. You will not know what you should do. Right? You won't be able to think of anything except sending a telegram to father. You would still be seeking advice from your father, right? Even after studying more than your father, you will still be at your wits end. You will still be confused. But in your place, if he won't send anybody a telegram, he says, in your place, if there comes a situation where father becomes ill, he's not going to send a telegram to anybody or to you or get upset or be worried. He would find out about the disease himself. He's saying that either he's going to find out about his illness himself and try the remedy, and if it didn't work, he would call some doctor. And even after trying his own remedy, he would get better. He would call some doctor. But you and I don't even know how to make our allowance last through the month. He's saying, but you and I are so small that we don't know how to make our money. Allowance means the money that we get for a month. How do we last it? How do we make it last to the month? We spend it even before the month gets over. Don't be so proud of almost catching up with me and being independent now. Catching up with me means that you're just almost only one class behind me. Don't be so proud that you have come only one class behind me and being independent now. Don't think that you have become independent. I'll see that you don't go off track. He's saying that I will watch out and I will look out for you. Don't think that you have become independent. If need be, he held up his fist. He showed him that if the need arises, I can use this to he made him see his punch, that I can punch you too, I can beat you too if the need arises. I was thoroughly shamed by his new approach. Now, the narrator felt really ashamed of himself. I had truly come to know my own insignificance, my wrongdoing, and a new respect for my brother was born in my heart. With tears in my eyes, I said, no, no, what you say is completely true and you have the right to say it. Now he says that I have understood my mistake and you have all the right in the world to correct me or advise me wherever I go wrong. My brother embraced me. He hugged him and said, I don't forbid you to fly kites. I like it too. But what can I do if I go off track? How will I watch out for you? He says that I'm not saying that you should stop flying kites. Even I love that sport. But he's saying if I start flying kites and if I go off the track, then who is going to watch out for you? He's being very protective of his younger brother. Just then, the kite that had been cut loose passed over us with its strings dangling. A crowd of boys were chasing after it. Now, what happened as they were talking? Another kite was cut loose and its string passed over them. My brother was very tall. He caught hold of the string and gave it to his younger brother. Right? Clear? I hope the chapter is all clear to you, students. Any doubts? So, shall we proceed? Good. Now, children, what is the moral that you learn from this chapter? We must understand this fact that we are not always self-sufficient in deciding for ourselves. We must seek the advice of our elder before deciding anything. He's saying that however great our education might be, however we rise in our lives, but we will always need someone who can give us a good advice, right? We must seek the advice of our elders before deciding anything. They will always have greater or more wisdom than you have, right? Now, let's start with the question and answers with a reference to the context. Okay. Number one, my silence was an acknowledgement of guilt. This is the context. Now, question A says, what was the narrator guilty of? What was the narrator felt guilty of? Yes, he was guilty of playing outside. He was playing outside with his friends and not paying attention to his studies. Why was he silent? Because he was so scared of his brother that no word ever came to his mouth to give a reply to his brother. So he always used to be silent as an acknowledgement or an acceptance of his guilt. Right? B. What words of his brother made him feel guilty? What were the words that simply used to bring out the guilt in him? The words were, where were you? He simply used to ask, where were you? And the narrator started feeling all this guilt. C part. What did his brother go on to say while scolding him? He continued saying that English is such a difficult language, right? Even if you give so much time to it, you are going to learn only a small amount of English, right? So he was telling him how hard the English language is, right? Number two, but it's one thing to draw up a schedule, another to follow it. Question follow. What kind of schedule had the narrator drawn up and what was asking? So after being scolded by his brother, he drew up this schedule where he had noted down his activities from right from the crack of the dawn to the night. How much time he would devote to all the subjects, and in that schedule he had not devoted any time for playing, right? B part, why was it hard for the narrator to follow the schedule? What were the main distractions for him? So the narrator was too much distracted by what were the distractions exactly for him? There was a big playground, big green playground that came to his mind. The soothing winds that blew outside, they were coming to his mind, and all that commotion he used to miss, right? On the football field, how he used to miss all his friends, all this hustle bustle that was happening on the football ground. So these were the main distractions that came to his mind when he thought of studying, right? Okay, what thoughts went through the narrator's mind before he decided to draw up the schedule? So, right before drawing up that schedule, the narrator was crying and he was literally thinking of running back to his home from the hospital, right? He was thinking, what is the use of studying and giving so much time to a thing that he is not capable of doing. So he was thinking of running back to his home. Right, children? Now, was the narrator able to follow the schedule and why? No, the narrator was not able to follow the schedule even for a single day. Why? Because of all these distractions that came to his mind. Clear? Good. Now, number three, understanding doesn't come from reading books. What prompted the elder brother to make such a comment? So he said this when he saw that his brother was all puffed up with pride after coming first in the class. So he's trying to explain him that understanding doesn't come from reading books or getting good marks. Right? So that is why his elder brother made such a comment in order to make him understand that pride is not good for him. It can destroy him. B. Explain the quoted line. What is the meaning of this line? Understanding doesn't come from reading books. It means that the wisdom of life, the experience, right? you cannot gain it just by reading a few of your textbooks and getting good grades. Marks. These wisdom and these experiences come with life, right? Come when life happens to you. Okay. How did it apply to the boy's parents? Yes, he says that despite of his parents not being educated, they still had a lot of wisdom and experience with them. Like they would not go running here and there for advice. They will not get confused over small problems like small children these days. Even after not being educated, they have wisdom and experience of life. See, what did the elder brother say about his role in the narrator's life? He said that I, as an elder brother, am here to watch out and look out for you. I am not going to go off track, right? He was going to make sure that his brother does not go off track and he studies well and makes good use of his time in the course. D. What was the narrator's reaction to his elder brother's words? Now, the narrator was moved by his brother. He felt bad. He realized his mistake and he understood that his brother was saying everything for his betterment and he had more experience of life. So he said that you, my brother, can always correct me in my life. He understood the mistake he had done. Is that clear to all of you? Shall we move on? Good. Now, you fill in the blanks we start doing. I didn't really like studying. Narrator said that he did not really like to study. Right? My brother was dash years older than me, but only 3 lakhs ahead. So he was 5 years older than me, but only 3 grades ahead. Grade wise, he was only 3 years ahead. Right? Number 3, I'm surprised I did run away from hostel and go home, run away from school and go home. Right, children? Now, rest two you will do on your own. Now, let's start with the true or false. The narrator's brother was 8 years older to him. Was he 8 years older? No, he was 5 years older. So, it is a false statement. Right? Number 2, the narrator likes to fly kites. Yes, he very much likes to fly kites. Number 3, the elder brother always took 2 years to pass one task. So it was not always that he took 2 years, sometimes it was even 3. So, false. Number 4, the elder brother was an expert in the art of giving advice. Yes, he was an expert advice giver. So, 2. Number 5, the narrator's brother loved to fly kites. Yes, even he admitted that he loved flying kites, but he did not do so that his brother doesn't go off track. So, he had to watch out for him. Narrator's brother loved to fly kites. True. Right? Now let's answer the following questions. Where did the narrator and his brother live? They used to live in the poor hospital. Right? How old were they? The narrator was 9 years old and his brother was 14. What did the elder brother remind his sibling about? Ravan. Why did he remind him about Ravan? When he saw that his brother was hopping around, he was puffed up with pride by getting good grades in his marks, so in his class. So he reminded him about Ravan, how he got destroyed, how he was destroyed only because of his pride, right? Number 3, how did he prepare for the ninth grade exam? How was the elder brother preparing himself for the exam? Yes, he was killing himself with the studies. He had learned every word and he used to study from crack of the dawn to the night, and again he would get up very early in the morning. So he used to study a lot for his ninth grade exam. Number 4, why did both the brothers cry when he failed again? When the elder brother cried and when the elder brother failed in his class, both the brothers felt very bad because it was the second time in a row that his brother had failed despite of putting in so much hard work and effort. So they both cried. What did he say about the difficulties of studying British history and geometry? So, how was British history difficult? Because there were, according to his elder brother, they had only a few names. They used to write 1, 2, and 3 after the names of their people. So, it was very difficult to learn the names. And as far as geometry was concerned, just by writing one of the alphabets here and there, like writing ACB in place of ABC, would make your entire answer wrong. So this is how British history and geometry were very difficult. Right, children? All clear to you? Good. So that was all for this chapter, children. I'll see you guys with the next chapter. Till then, all of you stay blessed and stay healthy. Bye, children.